So Bill Barr comes out and says the following. He says, Trump likes to call anyone who disputes false election fraud claims as a rhino. Former U.S. Attorney General Bill Barr was responding to a rant Trump posted on Truth Social in which the former president said he had no guts and was a weak and pathetic rhino who was so afraid of being impeached. A rhino for him is anyone who disagrees with him with the election was stolen, he rebuked. He then recalled his childhood when he passed out leaflets supporting Barry Goldwater, the Arizona senator who was known as one of the forefathers of the modern conservative movement. As someone who handed out Barry Goldwater literature when I was 14 years old on the Upper West Side, it's a little silly to say that. What do you think about what Bill Barr is saying to Trump?
Look, personally, in 2022 or 21 or 20 or 19, in this day and age, it's unimaginable and it's unacceptable to me personally that, quote unquote, the legitimacy of any election by the casting of one invalid ballot should ever happen. Meaning that if someone is filling out a ballot and is putting down information of a person who's deceased or knowingly is not here legally and not within their legal right to vote, and that vote is counted, to me personally, that makes the entire process illegitimate.
Yeah.
And whether it's the one vote to cause someone to win or lose, or whether or not it's just one vote that should not have been counted, is enough for me as being an American living here in the United States of America that should say that we don't accept the election as is and it needs to be redone. And just by virtue of when you go to the airport, you have to show a passport, a photo ID, facial recognition. This idea that I need to have an ID to prove who I am and that I am within my legal right as an American to cast a vote. And this idea, and again, please hold the hate mail, please, that in some way that's racist. I just can't accept that. Everybody who lives in the United States should be fundamentally wanting that an election, whether you agree with it or not, needs to be legitimized by each and every vote that is cast. That's just my personal opinion, and I'm sorry. And so I don't get into the weeds of whether there was enough votes that were illegitimate to have changed the outcome, but I do know, and by the way, it's indisputable, that there was at least one vote that was cast that was illegitimate, meaning that there were votes that were cast that happened to be people that were dead. That, to me, illegitimizes the entire process. That's offensive to me personally, and that's offensive to me as being an American.
But that's nothing new. There's always going to be one vote.
But here's the thing.
You're talking 160 million votes, right?
But the
You're
process,
going to throw away the whole election for one alleged vote?
We live here in the United States of America. We are the richest nation on this planet. We are the most sophisticated. People are going to give their lives to come into this community, into this country, right? Yeah. We see what's going on at the border. What other country in the world, by the way, what other country on the planet are people literally risking their lives to get into? None. Zero. Only the United States of America. So that should tell us as Americans that fundamentally we should ensure that each and every vote that is casted is legitimate. And that person is legally entitled. And by the way, here's where it offends me the most. When you are born here in the United States, by virtue of being born here, you have citizenship. You are an American. But I go back to, and this is where I find that we have gotten so far removed. My grandparents who immigrated from Russia and from Germany and fled, they spilt their blood. They gave their blood, their sweat and tears to come to the United States, to work, live lawfully, contribute, and provide. I think it's such a disrespect and such a slap in anybody's face who has come here legitimately and legally and who has gone through the process and waited the 5, the 6, the 10, the 20 years, whatever it took for them to get and obtain their citizenship. Listen, someone that works for me just got their citizenship. I am telling you, when they speak of it, you would think someone died. You would think something horrible happened. The emotion of the gratitude of what they exude and the feeling of appreciation to now saying they are a citizen is unbelievable. But it's so recognizable because you see the emotion coming out of these individuals.
No question about it.
And how disrespectful is it to allow someone who's not here legitimacy to be able to cast a vote and to then skew the election? And so my long-winded response is, yes, it should not be acceptable. We do it again.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.